What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. It is time to go on ahead and preview Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. So this past week, I was fortunate enough to be part of an event where they showed us about 45-ish minutes of the game. And then I was also fortunate enough to play around an hour and a half, 2 hours of the game for myself. Now, coming out of that event, we are now able to go on ahead and share the details with you guys. Of course, over the course of this past week, I've actually been doing that, posting tons of videos, going on ahead and showcasing some gameplay, most of which was my own gameplay recorded at the event, which means that I am fortunate enough to have played the game. Now, let me put a little bit of context around that. I did not play the game in person because of obviously the pandemic and everything going on. There's no kind of in-person events. So the way that we played this, as far as I'm aware, everyone that played this game played it this way, was via connecting from our own computers using the internet to connect to their computers at TT Games and Warner Brothers, and then playing the game pretty much kind of like streaming it live to our computers. So similar to maybe if how you played like something through Google Stadia, let's say, or the PlayStation Now, I think, or whatever the PlayStation cloud streaming service is called. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I think that a lot of people need to be aware of that, because I think that some of the lag that I possibly experienced with this game was because of how we played it, which I will bring up once we discuss the bad about this game. But do not be concerned. We will discuss plenty of good as well, because today, since this is the final preview that I'll be doing for the game, I wanted to go on ahead and discuss the good, the bad, and then hear your opinions in the comments section below. And one of the other reasons why I waited to do this later in the week is because I was hoping some things would not leak, but I was hoping that some things would be confirmed publicly, because due to embargoes and everything like that, I wouldn't be able to talk about them otherwise. So now that they have been confirmed, I feel confident making this video. So let's get rocking and rolling. I'll start with the bad because there's far less bad than good. And we're going to go on ahead and then rattle off a bunch of awesome things about this game. So the bad, the biggest problem that I had while playing this game was the loading times. I think the loading times was the thing that bothered me the most, in terms of anytime that there was a big loading sequence between areas, meaning like if I went from one area of Tatooine to another area of Tatooine, it would take quite a while by today's standards. Again, if we go back a few years and we talk about kind of the loading cycle for like a PS4 or at the start of the PS4 era, it was pretty much standard fare. But again, I know that this is probably going to sound super condescending, but at this point, I am used to the loading cycles from the PlayStation 5 era, where things are super duper rapid or no loading times whatsoever. This game definitely had some loading times. Again, I'm not sure if that was caused because I was playing the game streamed, so that could be an issue that will be rectified when I actually have the game in person and I'm playing a copy on my own console. So we'll see. But I did want to mention that because that was one thing that seemed to be odd. Beyond that, one thing that obviously a lot of people have gone ahead and pointed out is the glitched Vader mask. So that was a thing that I noticed as well. Beyond that, there was one or two other times where I had like a disappearing character part or something like that. So those were pretty much the only technical flaws that I saw. And finally, the other thing in terms of technicals, during some of the cutscenes, I could see a little bit of stuttering. But again, I want to contextualize this with the fact that because we're playing the game when it's being streamed, as far as I'm aware, everyone who got to play this game at this event was streaming it through this service. And because of that, I'm assuming they probably experienced a similar issue, or I guess maybe it also depends on what kind of an internet connection they had. But regardless, that was something that I did see a couple of times as well. Now, with that being said, that is everything as far as bad things pointed out during the actual gameplay sessions that I had and actually watching the gameplay that they shared. That was pretty much it. Then we need to talk about the elephant in the room, because Yes, the one big thing that is missing from this title is going to be the Lego customizer. So I checked for this pretty quickly as soon as I got my hands on the game. I was like, okay, let me look through and see if I could find the option to head for a customizer or something like that. And I couldn't see it anywhere. That was definitely worrisome after verifying it. And then, of course, today we got an actual confirmation from TT Games that there will not be a public confirmation from TT Games that there will not be a customizer in this game. That's a bummer. As somebody that enjoys the creative side of being able to customize your own characters and being able to add new characters that are maybe from a different world, but you try to add a new stylized version, or even creating your own character, it's always been something that's been really, 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 really fun in these games. So it is unfortunate that we're coming off of the best customizer ever in LEGO DC Supervillains to now we're getting no customizer whatsoever. So that is definitely a negative against the game. I would probably say it's the one feature that I wish was included on top of course, online multiplayer, which would be pretty awesome if we ever get that at some point in the future. With that being said, it's time for the good. Holy moly, does this game have a lot going for it. So, of course, first and foremost, we have like a 350 plus character a roster, which is insane. So that kind of makes up for, I guess, the idea that we don't have the customizer in the game because there's so many characters already. As far as Star Wars characters are concerned, I don't think you're going to be running out of characters to play as. So that is definitely really cool to see. Now, again, I know that some people make the case that there's like 400 plus characters, and technically there are in terms of like specific selections of characters and things like that. But it really depends on how you want to count characters, like in terms of like, is Anakin all 10 variants of Anakin? Are they 10 characters, or is that one character and he's just in different attires? So it really just depends on how you want to count it yourself. That's why I just, to be safe, I say 300 plus characters. For sure, there are that many unique characters, which is insane to even say. Beyond that, the gameplay. Holy freaking moly. This is such a massive step forward for the LEGO franchise, for the LEGO games that we've come to expect. It basically kind of mirrors third-person gameplay from something like, I guess like a, not quite as tactical, but like a Gears of War or an Uncharted sort of game, coupled with the mechanics in terms of close range fighting of something like an Arkham game in terms of the countering system and everything like that, coupled with the traversal and the mobility of like a traditional third-person adventure game. It's just, there's a huge step forward here. Like this, I would say, to me, I would say that the thing that shocked me the most was how in-depth the gameplay was. How in the demos they showed us like the stuff, you know how oftentimes games will advertise and be like, oh yeah, you can do this and that. And then when you get into the game and you're like, no, you can't. Like you can only do it in that one specific moment that you showed us. Here, that is not the case. You can most definitely do way more than even they told us. Like in certain levels, you can set up traps to figure out how you're going to defeat stormtroopers. Like it's incredible. The level of step up in gameplay is night and day. Like it, from the whatever it was, like 90 minutes to 2 hours that I've played, this is the best gameplay in any LEGO game ever. Like it's insanely impressive to see what a huge step up it is in that sense. Graphically, the game looks gorgeous. It is a very beautiful game, very well lit. The environments, especially on the interiors, are phenomenal. The exteriors have some moments still where it's like, okay, it looks a little bit sluggish, but for the most part, even the exterior areas were really impressive, which was super duper cool to see for sure. The weathering system is phenomenal. Like the fact that they have this dynamic weathering system where as you drop on a certain planet, so like if you visit a sand planet, you'll see like little sand particles on your character's weapon, on the hair, on the clothing. If you visit an ice planet, you'll see ice fragments. It's just really freaking impressive. And again, something that I was completely blown away by from that standpoint. Then on top of that, we have really cool design work overall for the cutscenes and everything. Like all the cutscenes feel very modernized. I wouldn't say they're quite as good as like the Lego movies, right? Like it's not quite that level of like quality for the animation, but it's pretty freaking close. Like it is better, you know, like how they did the what was it called? Terrifying Tales, I think. They did a few like Disney Plus specials for Lego as well. It's not quite as the best versions of that as far as like the quality of animation, but it is pretty freaking close. Like it's really, really, really impressive how emotive, how detailed all the animations are for the cutscenes. I was really impressed by that side of things as well. I think the one thing that will be kind of divisive for some people is the fact that it is not original voice lines in terms of like from the original movies, at least from what I played and saw. It is new voice recordings. I like that because I think that it's cool that the game still is a game. It's not literally like in Lego Marvel Avengers, they took the actual lines from the movie and just copy pasted them into the game. Some people prefer that. So if you like that aesthetic, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're like me and you like the original voice acting, meaning like they re-recorded the same lines possibly, or maybe even some new lines, but it's a brand new voice recording, clean, it's fitting to the situation and the pacing of the cutscene. So to me, I personally prefer that. But again, I know that for some people that might actually be a negative. The other thing I wanted to mention was the boss fights. The boss fights are so much more enticing now. One of the coolest things about video games is when you finally reach that epic crescendo with a boss fight that you've been building towards, that you've gone through a whole stage to get to, and now finally, there it is. There's the epic boss fight. And oftentimes in Lego games, they don't necessarily stick the landing with the boss fights because they'll feel a little bit too repetitive and there's not as much variance between one boss fight to the next. Here, because of the new gameplay dynamics, it looks like the boss fights are going to be an absolute blast. Now, when I say that, they're going to be a lot more complicated than what we've come to expect. So we were lucky enough to actually see the boss fight with Count Dooku and Anakin, which was really freaking cool because you could see in that boss fight the multiple stages of how you're going to have to defeat Count Dooku and the actual technical prowess that it will require to do so. Again, I do want to preface this because I know some people are going to go on ahead and say, well, I don't look to Lego games to be this complex. So it's a good point, like in terms of if you just want a Lego game to be completely like mindless fun where you just drop in, it's a beat 'em up, and that's pretty much the entire experience, I think you probably will be a bit disappointed because this is a much more complicated game compared to the traditional Lego title. But for somebody that has been looking forward to such complexity being introduced in Lego, I could not be more excited. And there you have it, guys. That is my preview for Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Let me know what you guys think of the preview. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Is there anything else that maybe you've seen from my videos or some of the other people that have been posting videos over the course of the last week, or maybe even a little earlier than that? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, because some people broke embargo. But if you guys have any opinions and thoughts that you would like to share, certain things that maybe you've noticed that either concern you or the opposite, certain things that excite you about the game even more so now that you've seen those particular elements, let me know down in the comment section below. Of course, don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so very much for your support. April 5th is going to be the day that I am going to be dropping an insane amount of content for this game. I cannot freaking wait to see what awaits for us. And of course, in addition to all of that, I want to give you guys a huge thank you because, again, the only reason why I am even privileged enough to be able to go on ahead and play this game early is because of your awesome support. So thank you so very much for watching these videos. Thank you so very much for hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for the subscribe. And of course, I'll hopefully catch you all here next time. Peace out. See you laters, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.